Welcome to NasCanucks presented by Vibraprint. It is Tuesday, March 23rd, 2021. It's your auto racing podcast with a Canadian flavor, spin, feel, sure, all the above. I'm Ben, this is Doug, and you can tell by the chapeau that there had to be a full moon this weekend.
I couldn't make this shit up. I have to, you have to wear a tinfoil hat to talk about this weekend. Because I had videos of 4 fights from 4 different tracks on Saturday alone. Yep. I had 2 pit road accidents where crew members were involved. You had a top driver lose the lead late in the race in 2 races at 2 different tracks. Same driver lose that lead late in 2 different races, 2 different tracks, 2 different days.
And that was the theme of just the NASCAR weekend alone. Don't win the first 2 stages.
Well, yeah.
And that happened in all 3 series, come to think of it.
There was some stuff come out about the first race that people are all upset about because...
Yeah, well, screw them. They don't know.
Because it was race manipulation. Well, no, race manipulation only is considered the end of the race.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, like, holy crap. This
so
weekend.
Should we?
Don't forget. We got one other thing.
Hmm?
We got one other thing. How about that destroyed quad runner at Bristol on Saturday as well too?
You know, word of advice: if you're gonna push start, and I don't know why, because they have started.
I'm gonna see if I can pull it up here. Because you sent it to me. I did.
And all I want to say to preface it is, if you're gonna use a quad 4-wheeler, if you will, to push start a dirt late model that has the open back, which is just basically an exposed roll cage, make sure your bars on the front of the quad don't hook into the rear bars of the dirt late model. So, wait. Great. Got the cat at the door here. Go away. Anyways, yes. What you don't see in the video is the driver of the quad knew something was up when the late model took off, and he just bailed off of it, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I can't find what you sent me.
All right.
I found it.
Oh, good. And if you hear some talking in the background, apparently Dad's making a die-cast deal upstairs.
Okay, yeah. Now it won't let me go in. But anyway, quad runner at Bristol, just complete barrel roll down the front stretch.
Well, that's one of the fights.
Yeah. So fights we had Gregson Hendrick. We had a fight at the Bristol dirt race on Saturday.
Yep.
You see a fight every weekend from Hickory. And I want to say the other one I seen was like New Smyrna or something like that. Some other small track where there was another fight. So it was like those 4 fights. You've got Kyle Larson, who we'll talk about the first one, Bristol on Saturday in the feature.
Apparently, that tweet must have been deleted or something, because I don't see me sending it to you either.
Yeah, so I'm not sure.
That's weird.
But yeah, so Larson loses the feature on a last lap pass.
Yep.
And on Bristol Saturday.
Right. And we'll get into the highlights of the actual NASCAR races in a minute. Yeah. So should we start with the trucks, because we'll just get them out of the way, and then chaos ensues the rest of the race weekend?
Well, yeah, and the other thing is that you got to watch the first race, the truck race.
Yep.
Then
no Xfinity race for me.
Went to shit.
Yep.
My truck race went to shit. But I was able to see the other 2 races. So.
And I got the first 2 stages of the Cup race down to about 75 laps to go. And it was funny because I found like NASCAR does the broadcast too, and they just superimpose the Fox booth over top of their shots and stuff. Mm-hmm. So they're showing the highlights of the race. Good 15-minute highlight block. I'm like, perfect. That's going to cover everything. Highlight. Here's the end of my recording. the very next thing they show is the pass at the end for the last 10 laps. So I'm like, really? I didn't miss anything because they spent 4 minutes showing the last 10 laps. So truck race. One of the few starts this year for Kyle Busch in his truck. We had another full field of 40 trucks, I believe, take the grid because no qualifying. And a continuation of the statement at the beginning of the year. John Hunter Nemechek said, hey, I'm going to KBM because I want to win races. Well, he looked like he won the first 2 stages, which was a bit of a theme to come. Kyle Busch battling with him. That's where they were talking about accused manipulation.
Well, apparently
Kyle letting
he has
him win the stage wins.
Apparently, Kyle has said that he did let him win those 2 stages.
Oh, well, there we are.
But
oh, well.
That's the stages. That's not the end of
That's
the race.
not the raceway. Right. Which comes down to, because honestly, it was a pretty good, clean race. There wasn't any shenanigans or anything.
No.
Which we've kind of seen the last couple of weeks. Some people call it boring, but no, there was lots of passing and stuff. There just wasn't any wrecks. And unlike most quote unquote fans, and I use that term loosely, I don't watch for the wrecks. The last thing I want to see is a wreck in a race.
No.
My favorite thing is a caution-free race, which we'll never see again because NASCAR's fucked up the way races are, but we'll never see a caution-free race again. Hell, first thing you got to do is bring back qualifying and practice so we don't have competition cautions. And then we got the stupid stages. So, long story short, Kyle Busch ended up winning the race. He didn't dominate the race. Both John Hunter and him dominated the race between the two of them. And Kyle got his 60th truck win. 60.
Mm-hmm.
That's for a series that runs less than 30 races a year, that's damn impressive. And especially since, a few years they were down to 25 races a year?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. So, and he runs part-time. So that was really good to see. And then immediately, because they showed it during the early part of the Xfinity race, he hopped on a plane to fly back up to Bristol to run a dirt late model Saturday night.
Which he won his heat. So I was thinking that's some good juju for the rest of the weekend. But
exactly. And I'm sure our friend Amy did some travel coordinating to help out with Kyle Busch going back and forth.
I think so, yeah.
Because she's either booking the Gibbs plane or the Hamlin's plane.
Yeah.
So we got that going on, which brings us into the Xfinity race.
So, yeah, so I know
your boy decided to make a return start in the 54 car. Stanley Tools paint job looked pretty good. And
he looked. They showed the one graphic at the one point, so I'm not sure if you got to see it. That he blew your boy Elliott Sadler's record out of the water because Sadler had 4,300 and something days between Xfinity wins, and Martin's been 5,400 days.
Right, because he hasn't really run
Xfinity races.
Yeah. Yeah, Martin was looking good, as he said in his interview. It was fine till he screwed up, which he always puts it on himself for the most part.
Well, it was that pit road speeding, right? That's what put him back in the pack. But just the car that he had to be able to go, back to front the way he did was just even he did it off the start, then did it off when he got the penalty.
Which comes. We're going to skip ahead because basically it was the Martin Truex show for the first 2 stages. Theme of the weekend, win the first 2 stages. Then in this 3rd stage, and this is a guy, again, I believe he also had a pit road speeding penalty, rallied back up, long-time late model driver.
Get it right. Come on. Let's go. Come on.
James Berry?
Oh, again. That's Chuck's other cousin. This is Josh. Josh Berry.
Right. Jay Berry. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
He rallied back. He's been doing really well, and I really like to see, because he's not a 22-year-old running Xfinity. Oh, the future. This guy's put his time in. Reminds me of like that band that plays bars forever, and they finally get their break, at age 40. So we got some highlights of Josh Berry doing a little agriculture work, because I don't know who the landscaper is for Atlanta Motor Speedway, but at first what appears, and you can kind of see it in our background here, what appears to be the grass, it's 3 inches tall. Nope, not Atlanta. Clearly, it was a curb of dirt with short grass on top of it. What am I talking about? You'll see here. We've got let's see, where application window. Why is it not showing? All right, hang on. Let's cancel that. Oh, it is open. I'm going to close and reopen it. One moment here, folks.
It's a riveting show here right now.
I know. It is, isn't it? There we go. All right. So the video's open. Go over here. Share screen. Oh, well, let's choose video file. See if that works, actually.
I'm going to say that after, if we can get the video up.
So there we are.
Yep.
And ruined Josh Berry's day. I think he had made it back up into the top 10 at that point.
Well, yeah. And the thing is, and they kind of pointed out, and some other people were talking afterwards, is that he made that decision to go to the grass. He could have went down pit road.
Well, it was literally the way he was angled. In all honesty, he was a few degrees towards the track as opposed to pit road. Cars turn better left than right. So literally, it was a 50-50. He could have gone either way.
Yep.
He tried to crank it right. Because even if you're doing it to avoid a situation, as soon as you cross pit road at 75 miles an hour, even if you're backwards, sideways, and on fire, guess what? You still get a pit road speeding penalty.
But at that point, I think I'd rather take that than being on the truck going home.
That's true. Welcome to our viewer that's viewing. Awesome. Don't know who it is, but hello, welcome. So that was kind of that, and actually at the end of stage 1, we actually had a multi-car wreck. Brandon Jones got clipped, and hey, Eddie Van Haskell. It was a barrel mound full of roadkill he hit there. Yeah, exactly. So Brandon Jones, they had the one wreck highlight of the weekend. Essentially, everyone's driving so well these days. So then that brings us to an incident during the race, which I thought was interesting. They didn't show it in the NASCAR on Fox highlights of the Xfinity race. They didn't show the pit road incident. They waited till the end of the race to show the interview fight. And then, you want to know why there was a fight? And good thing we got Eddie here. He's a big hockey fan. So, it's not just hockey. So let's play this next video clip, and then we can discuss it. I think it's this one here. I'm trying not to choose a pedal demo for the other channel.
The headlines out of this race, they are plentiful. And I won't say that.
So this is the end.
Goes to second on the list, but...
Swing towards Hendrick.
Yeah.
That is actually L.W. Miller. So that is Kelly Earnhardt's husband.
Let's back it up here.
He's this guy that's right here.
This guy?
Right here. He is L.W. Miller. So he is high up at Junior Motorsports. And for all the talk that they say of, let the boys have at it, let the drivers do whatever, why is an executive?
Not only that, but I call him Mr. Bass Pro Shops. The guy whose job I'm pretty sure, we'll just run it a bit. That guy in the toque. Looks like he's ready to rob a bank with his little slit for eyes here. Yep. He's 3 times the size of the driver. And they don't show from this angle. Guess what? He got a left in. He was giving some rabbit punches. What I would have liked to have seen is Hemrick's entire crew jump that one guy and kick the living shit out of him. Because that's third man in.
One of Hendrick's guys did come down later on because, all credit to Hendrick for going down without his crew.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So we'll let this play out a bit here. I want to pause it right there. Here, the line, he's clearly in Hendrick's pit. I don't know where they're saying not, because you could see the damn white line. Well, you would be able to see it if Noah wasn't on top of it.
Because his tires didn't cross.
Yeah, well,
but
I don't judge by tires. I go by bumper.
If you also look, the pit box ahead of Noah is open.
Yep. Also, it's interesting. Yeah, they said because the tires didn't go over the line. Really? Because you're charged with pitting outside the box if your nose is over the line at the front.
Yeah.
Right? How many times have we seen that where just the nose is over and you got to dip it back an inch or two? Also, they said, Kyle Petty went on this rant, said, well, you know how hard it is to see at the back of these cars? I'm backing up. You can't see anything. The dude at the right rear corner walked back with the car, may have had radio communications, not sure. You got a crew chief up on the pit box that could have spotted him. Like how many times have we backed into a space, like back in the campsite? Somebody's spotting you, giving the hand signals, right? We've all done that. Not to mention, there's a guy up above the grandstands. He has one job. In fact, it's the title of his job. Spotter.
Yep.
Just saying.
No, I know. Yep.
We'll play it out a bit and gave Hendrick the finger as he drove by, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So there it is. And I cut off the video there. Why? Because then they interviewed Gregson, and we don't care to hear about his lies.
You know what? Gregson afterwards, I will say I was okay with his interview because he talked about himself in the race.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. But then when he starts talking about Hendrick and all the other crap that he said about him, that's when he needs to use his head. And I think we talked about this last night, that I think Junior needs to go into his property or go over to RC's shop over in Welcome, find a bench, and just have the Mike Helton talk.
Yeah, and Doug, I know for a fact there's 2 to 4 benches in the courtyard of Hendrick Motorsports. They got a bench outside of, remember, we'll call it the headquarters building, where they had that little museum in the front.
Yep.
Right? That seems like that's more the office space and stuff and information. There was a bench outside that door. In the middle, where they had that round area where they had the Camaro on display, seems to be there was a couple benches around there, because that is kind of you can tell they use that for some kind of hosting area.
Yeah. And
then there's benches outside the entrance of each of the 2 race shops.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't a bench outside the engine shop. Why? Because they don't want us over there.
No.
I found that out real quick. Do you remember? I almost got my hand on the handle of the door to walk into the engine shop till Hendrick's security guy went, no.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, did you not read the sign? I'm like, authorized personnel only? It's just a sign.
Yeah. But yeah, he needs to sit down and, too bad Mike Helton isn't still around just to say, you know what?
No.
You need NASCAR more than NASCAR needs you. There's been
we need Bill France Senior around. Not even Junior, but Senior. Yeah. Actually, Senior would just park him for a week.
Yeah.
And there was some comparisons to Kurt Busch, who had a $100,000 fine and a 100-point penalty for a similar infraction in the past. Also, you mentioned it last night and failed to mention it today, so I'm guessing you didn't get to watch it. I watched the Ask Dale Jr. portion this morning.
I was looking for it, and I didn't see it.
It was 15 minutes long. The first 5 minutes was talking about him covering the IMSA race.
Mm-hmm.
And how he thought it was so nice that they took the time to let a little old stock car racer come and hang out there. Really? You still have one of the most recognizable names in motorsports. So, okay, false modesty. The second question was in relation to the 1989, at that time, Busch race in Daytona, where his dad ran a Pontiac, a one-off Pontiac, and somebody wanted to know the story on that. And the third question, again, had nothing to do with Noah Gragson or the race.
And he said that he would be talking about that on that segment.
Yeah. I call bull. But then again, he's also sitting there with the matching hoodie and hat of Filibuster or Fill Meter, Full Filter, Fill Filled. I don't know. Whatever. Some fucking sponsor.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious, Dale. Like when you're wearing the matching hat and hoodie.
Yeah.
And I've never seen them sponsor you as a race car driver.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But yeah. So.
It brings us into Sunday.
Well, let me say, congrats to Justin Allgaier on getting the win.
Oh,
Saturday.
yeah. Buried the lead because as we saw a lot of tweets on Noah Gregson's feed, way to take the shot, way to take the spotlight away from your teammate who won, which was, it could have been a coin toss. If Allgaier won or Truex, we were getting tears in victory lane.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
I had to say it.
Truex got the lead down to 0.2 of a second, but then Allgaier just kind of took off.
Yeah. Because it was Mr. Brandt's birthday, either Saturday or right around then, who's passed away. But Brandt being a longtime partner, and it sounds like that's a family. It's hard to tell corporations. Some are family-owned corporations.
Yeah, that's a family-owned agriculture corporation. Then also with, as you've seen, the helmet and T-shirt of one of their pit crew guys. Yeah,
well, I was trying to wonder when he said he dedicated the win to Rowdy. I was like, why? Because Kyle Busch didn't compete? That's why you're, thanks for not entering the race? I expect somebody in the Truck Series victory lane to say that. And I didn't know who Rowdy was necessarily.
Yeah.
So and then I saw the 48. And I was like, what, like Jimmy Johnson? He was anything but rowdy.
Yeah. No, I believe I'm trying to think of when he passed away. I just can't remember, but yeah.
It was either this year or last year. It wasn't that long ago he had mentioned, so he was a little choked up about that. Nice to see he's rocking the full beard trimmed rather than that big freaking Wingard goatee he had in the press photo. I was like, you grew that goatee the entire offseason for it to be out there.
Yeah.
Somebody told him probably to shave it off because he looked like Popeye. It just looked like this huge chin.
Mm-hmm.
So getting into Sunday, I saw fellow YouTuber David Land had tweeted out, once again, for the 5th week in a row, NASCAR doesn't show the full starting grid. They fade out after partway through. So I replied, it's also the 5th week in a row we haven't had a full field to show.
Mm-hmm.
We made it up to 39 cars.
Yep.
And sadly, we only have 39 cars entered into this weekend's Bristol race.
Even
I
with
was
all
really
the extra
hoping
cars,
there was going to be 45 to 50 show up. But so they dropped the green and pretty quick it was turning into the Kyle Larson show.
Yeah,
even though he wasn't leading initially, he was the story moving up through the field to get there. Truex was spent some time out front. The Penske cars seemed competitive at the start. And then quickly, Kyle Larson got up to the front and just started again. Third verse, same as the second, same as the first. Stage 1 win, Kyle Larson. Stage 2 win, Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
Was there really anything of note?
Well, he dominated
in the first 2 stages.
No, not first 2 stages. No, most of the stuff happened in the 3rd stage.
Yeah. Speaking of which, do you think Joey Logano actively blocked Kyle Larson to allow Blaney to pass him? That's the A part, and B, regardless, did it affect the outcome of the race?
I think someone in the booth thought so, but he didn't want to say it.
Yep.
That was very evident.
I didn't think Joey really blocked per se. He wasn't all over the track like at Daytona.
No.
He was holding a line. Now, granted,
because
he moved up to the 3rd lane to let them both by later, the 1st and 2nd place cars. But regardless, Blaney had damn near a full backstretch lead by the end of the race. Like,
well, yeah,
I think he would have won it regardless.
And really, Larson wasn't getting too close to Logano anyway for Logano to do his block.
No, and it was like, yeah, like Larson might have been 1/10 of a second faster a lap than Logano, but Blaney was another 10th faster than both of them.
Oh yeah, for
so
sure.
It didn't matter.
No.
It was irrelevant.
And Kyle's tires were going. You can see that.
Yep.
And evident, like the one pit stop before they showed his tires were going. But like Saturday, we had another pit road incident.
Yep.
So the outcome from Saturday night with Gregson was no penalty because what we seen happen was not deliberate. He did not mean to back into him.
Really? Because I didn't see the ass end creep down before the impact like he had already hit the brakes to slow down.
Yeah.
He used Hendrick to slow down.
Well, as Noah said, if he really wanted to hit him, he would have went faster.
Sure he would have.
Sure. So so the other thing you didn't get to see was Anthony Alfredo come in, missed his pit box, tried to hammer on the brakes.
Is that the other guy from Connecticut?
Could be, yes.
I think he's the other guy from Connecticut that, both recipient like Joey of, they both been called number one.
So he spun and actually tagged one of Eric Almirola's, actually tagged his front tire carrier.
Oh, so he spun on pit road.
He spun on pit road, hit Almirola, actually hit one of the crew guys, and then he kind of went on. So that one was totally not what he was wanting to do. He totally missed his pit box, hit the brakes, spun. So,
and we should also mention, because they mentioned it during the broadcast, pit road is about 10 feet narrower than last week's race at Las Vegas. The pit stalls themselves are 3 or 4 feet narrower width-wise and about the same shorter length-wise too. Which, it's an older pit road. Really? You're also starting 3 less cars than you used to. You have 3 less pit stalls than you used to. Yep. But they insist on leaving what used to be the number 1 pit stall empty because they don't want people just rolling over the line. What I would like to see them do is just redo pit road and just lengthen all those pit boxes by even half a foot,
You want them to take out some of that grass?
Well, the grass isn't in between the pit stalls.
Oh, yeah. No.
Although that would be great for overshooting your pit. You get a cement pad with grass all the way around it.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm talking about making it wider. But
I was looking at it, as much as I'd like them to revert that track back to the old style, get rid of the quad part. I always forget, it's all corners. There's not much stretches there. I'd like to see them do, was it at Vegas where they put a slight curve into pit road as well? Like one of the tracks, remember they put a slight curve in pit road to kind of match the front stretch? And that, in theory would lengthen out pit road more, right? Because you can put that curve into it. It doesn't have to be a huge curve.
Just thinking here now, just something else about the race. We've seen a return, well, not just a return of the fans, but a return of something we used to see quite often in the stands. That being
overweight race fans getting drunk in the stands.
Kind of. But also another, there's 2 reasons why I am wearing a 78 shirt, blank shirt, and no Bass Pro Stop hat is because of what happened on Saturday.
Yeah. Same here.
The other reason that I'm wearing this Napa hat is because we've seen the return of the fan exodus before the race finished. Because Golden Boy blew up. And you could see as soon as he blew up, they kind of cut to the stands, and all of a sudden everyone was like,
now,
as we said that one night in Charlotte, the suicide rate almost went up.
And I was going to say, in all fairness, it was Atlanta. That's Chase's home track. He grew up, they say he grew up in Dawsonville. Really?
No.
How much time did he spend in North Carolina, really? Was Bill still living in Georgia and commuting? Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. At least Ryan Blaney admits he's from Level Cross. Oh, and speaking of which, because we'll get to that. But the mass exodus because hometown boy, whatever.
And they actually, I was surprised they showed people leaving.
Also, I love the shots because, where they usually got that camera, the permanent camera at Charlotte right in turn 1 up in the stands.
Yeah.
They were using those to shoot the backstretch, and they weren't super zoomed in towards, let's say, near the end of the race. It was a zoomed out view. Oh, it was so awesome to see all those campers in the infield.
Mm-hmm.
Infield camping's apparently a thing in Georgia again.
Yeah.
So that was good to see. So then it comes down, at the end of the race, about 10 laps to go. Logano's trying to stay in the lead lap. Truex is leading. Blaney is catching him by about 1/10 of a second a lap. And if Martin had to slow down or lose momentum at all for a lap car of any kind, all of a sudden Blaney's gaining 1/2 second a lap. So, Ryan Blaney ends up winning the race. Speaking of which, he was also in the booth on Saturday, and that man looks terrible in a suit.
Yep.
You know what it reminded me of, Doug? It really reminded me of Brayton Speedway banquets over the years when I see guys that are like auto mechanics and tow truck drivers by trade, and they all got suits on for the one thing. Speaking of which, I got a Ryan Blaney victory dance.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna show this off. How do I do it? I want to make myself a little bit bigger. There we are.
Okay.
Wait for it. Ryan Blaney, folks.
I like his victory celebration now.
Yeah.
While getting the checkered flag.
Yes, he gave it to a kid.
Yeah, and he's done that almost every time now.
Yep.
And it's just, and it's just I seen, was it NasCarcasm or someone tweeted out that kid's got show and tell for a life.
Yep.
He picks out that kid with the Blaney shirt and just,
I threw his flag against him a couple weeks ago, but I think I can agree that he is both of our favorite play-by-play guys. Mike Joy, is he your favorite play-by-play guy? He's mine. At times, when he's not trying to be too neutral or
when he's not cheerleading that one team.
Well, that too. He dropped the knowledge that I always forget, and I'm terrible for doing it too. As he said, and the checkered flag goes to third generation driver, Ryan Blaney. Everyone calls him second generation. No. Third. Also, they mentioned to Blaney during Saturday's race, are you excited to run Bristol this weekend? Yeah. Ryan's the only one that's been talking about Bristol used to be dirt 20 years ago. When they would, in the late 90s, early 2000s, we discussed it a bit. They dumped dirt down. And I remember one year they basically filled up the dirt to, let's say, the top of the pit road wall that separates it from the track and went level across because, most dirt tracks are 10 degrees of banking or under. And Bristol's 30, we'll say. But anyone that's seen highlights from this past week, they're still running 18, 20 degrees of banking, it seems. And they did that the first time they put down dirt at Bristol. It was up like that. And so they asked, any experience running down there to Ryan Blaney. And he said, well, yeah, my dad and uncle. Actually, they asked, did your dad, or something like that. He goes, well, both my dad and uncle both raced down there in the early 2000s. And he said, oh, yeah. And what was that like? They said, it was stupid. We were young and stupid and we shouldn't have done it. And I was like, I remember that because after practice, World of Outlaws, one time, they had to basically put the wings almost standing straight up on end because they were turning 9 and 10 second laps. You can't do that, Doug.
No, yeah,
no. It's not a restrictor plate. You can't run wide open in a sprint car.
Yeah.
And you've seen the highlights from this past week, especially the super late models. They drop the green. They have the acceleration of a sprint car, And it's like Martinsville. They just dart down and they flip her around, and they're so sideways. They're literally going sideways through the corner. And then as soon as they slide out, there's the straight, hammer down again.
Yeah.
Insane lap time. So that's going to be awesome.
And also for Blaney, of all the guys who've run dirt before, he still has not been asked to run a truck.
Right. And here's a shot of the tires from Goodyear for this weekend. I wrote a comment. I said they look a lot like the rain tire. And because I'm curious, are they just the rain tires? And the way I prefaced it so I didn't get trolled was I asked if it was the same compound as the rain tires. Because for those who don't know, rain tires are a very soft rubber compound. You know that because they always talk about how the treads will actually wiggle when they're on drier asphalt and stuff. Mm-hmm. Dirt tires, same deal. Very soft compound. So I'd be curious to know if they are in fact the same. Actually, you know what? We'll check real quick because I got 3 notifications on Twitter. Maybe somebody answered me. Oh, yeah, some guy with no profile pic said, not at all, you're stupid. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
All right. So
probably one of the same guys that made the comment last weekend when they showed that the track started to blacken up. The dirt track started to take some rubber at Bristol, and he said, "Are they going to replace the dirt where the asphalt is showing?"
Yeah, that wasn't asphalt showing.
No. Obviously, you've never been to a dirt track. So yeah. So this weekend coming up here now, we just had the 2 races. I thought the Xfinity was going as well, but they are not.
No Xfinity on dirt for whatever reason. Well, they'll claim it being cost because the trucks are already running an additional dirt race this year. That's okay. And we don't care if you're a Cup driver, if you're running dirt or not, because you're a Cup Series team. You can afford it. And if you can't afford it, shouldn't be running Cup.
Yeah. And the Xfinity actually has 2 weeks off.
Oh, wow.
Their next race is Martinsville.
Okay.
I guess that's the 2 weeks off. So it's leading up to Bristol, then another week, and then I guess so. Yeah.
Also, going back to the truck race, they decided they had to do their Hailie Deegan segment. Michael Waltrip is praising it. How well she's doing out there, Doug. Mm-hmm. She was running 25th. Yep. She's in top equipment. And all I kept thinking of is Lessard won a race and lost the ride.
Yeah.
And
and did she not have actually a teammate this weekend? Bill Lester came back.
Well,
driving a Gillen truck as well.
Yeah, but she runs for KBM.
No.
I thought Hailie Deegan runs for KBM.
No.
Oh.
No, I'm gonna say no on that because KBM is John Hunter, and Chandler Smith, and then there's the 50-51 truck.
Right. Yeah, I could have swore I thought the one truck was part of that program.
No.
All right, and I retract part of my statement.
Anyone watching me, but I don't think Hailie Deegan is part of that.
Right. Interesting was they mentioned how well ThorSport has switched over from Ford to Toyota this year and how they've really got a grip on it. Why didn't Stuart Friesen get the same grip last year when he did the switch? It's like, well, one's a single truck team and one's got 3 trucks, sometimes 4.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes 5.
Yeah.
Also, I believe Buddy from Camping World was sprinkling a little sponsorship joy again. That one
Overton's.
I think they must be sold through Camping World. Same way, when Bass Pro Shops will do that. they'll do the Tracker sponsorship as opposed to Bass Pro Shops per se.
Yeah.
It seems like because they mentioned Buddy and how he loves motorsports, so I assume it's got to be the same guy. But it was great to see, again, Overton's on a multitude of trucks of various teams. You know, that guy, if they do some kind of a humanitarian award at the NASCAR Awards, which they should, because all the drivers have charities and stuff, you know, if they do, this guy, he's already won it, in my opinion. I don't care what you do the rest of the year. Good luck. You know, he's sponsored, got to be 30 trucks now.
Yep.
You know, between a couple of races. So, kudos to him. What are we looking forward to this weekend in Bristol? We've got the first husband and wife combination running out there. Yep. Which brought up an interesting point. Who does their kid root for? Mom or dad?
Well, I think dad's got a better shot at winning.
Well, dad's got a shot at winning.
Yeah.
Now, is she running as a teammate to him as well?
I just forget which truck she's going to be in.
Right. And we're talking about Jessica, now formerly Zemke, possibly still Zemke, or possibly Friesen.
Is it Zemken Friesen? I think it is.
There we go. Also, Stuart Friesen's going to be making his Cup debut this weekend, which is awesome. 39 cars entered into this weekend's race. Coverage starts on Friday, Doug, with practice and qualifying.
Practice, yes. Practice is back.
Yes. Well, makes sense, you know. And they're going to try an iRacing thing tomorrow night.
Yes.
Clint Boyer's taking part in that. Really surprised Clint didn't enter the Dirt Nationals himself, although it could have been conflict for being in the booth.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly. But, you know, for a guy who claims to love dirt as much as he does, kind of surprised he didn't run it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, he's got his dirt team, right? So.
Yep. Oh, and to follow up to show that you're a smart person, the Kyle Busch trend of no seat time equals bad performance for Kyle Busch. He runs in the trucks, he wins in the trucks, and he was saying on Sunday, man, I loved having that seat time.
Yep.
So
yeah, being on the track is totally different than being in the simulator.
Yep. And also in the Cup Series, we are now 6 different winners. We thought we were going to have a repeat winner in Kyle Larson, but now we're 6 for 6. And Clint's like, I think you're on to something, Mike Joy. I think you might be right. We might have more than 16 winners. And I noticed Jeff Gordon was completely silent in that conversation.
Oh, yeah, because Gordon has been told, oh, no, it's not going to happen.
No, it's only going to be 5 or 6 winners as usual.
Yeah.
Really, Jeff?
So
I even believe Jeff after the 3rd winner in 3 races. But now we're up to what? 6 different winners in 6 races.
I had that thought after Michael McDowell taking the 500.
Yep.
Right, that there was just something. So we've got the 6
I had the
winners.
thought after Christopher Bell won, because all of a sudden I'm like, that's 2 that, for lack of better, 2 winners that shouldn't have been winners. Which I hate to say that, but because they both earned their wins.
Now that we've got those 6, we still have Kevin Harvick.
Yep.
Denny Hamlin.
Yep.
Kyle Busch.
Yep. Keselowski.
Yeah, Keselowski hasn't won yet, no.
Which you know what? I'm only predicting 1 or 2 wins for him. I think he's on that downside thing.
Trying to think of other big names that haven't won yet that usually do win.
That I threw out last week, and I saw the continued progress. I didn't see how they ended up, but when my recording ended at about that 75-80 lap mark, both Roush Fenway cars were in the top 10. And you remember last week I had said, those guys, and it was interesting. Buescher was running up there, very well in that 17. And I got to the point where you kind of forget about James Buescher, and I'm like, is he a young gun, we should pay attention to, like the future, like a Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott type.
Yeah.
But because he ran for JTG and Roush, which are not necessarily top teams, well, is he more of another Parker Kligerman, who's going to just end up being a journeyman driver. But Chris Buescher, he's up there. He's doing well. So I'm not going to count out Roush Fenway to possibly win this year, especially since they obviously have a cash infusion just happened into the race team because they have another partner in Roush Fenway Racing, which would be LeBron James.
Did we mention that last week? I'm trying to think.
No.
I can't remember.
No.
Or did we just talk about it?
Yeah. So that happened. And you know what? I'm also seeing Shaquille O'Neal getting involved again.
Yeah.
There seems to be something going on there, which awesome. Sure. But other than that, what else do we have?
I'm trying to see here.
Oh, also good runs by Daniel Suarez this weekend.
Yeah, so we kind of talked about that because he would have had a competitive edge on the radio because the teams could, because as we all know, teams can listen in on other radios.
Yeah.
Whatever. But
I was going to say, is it a competitive edge or really it's evening the odds? It'd be like us trying to talk on the radio speaking French to each other as a second language. him forced to speak English over the radio.
Yeah.
He's talking in a second language.
Yeah. Yeah, he had this, because his crew chief was suspended, he had his a former Mexico driver that was on his pit box. So
I say bring back Felipe Lopez, Doug.
Yeah. So just going back to the winners again. I'm looking here. So guys who haven't won yet, we haven't got Kurt Busch.
Right.
Keselowski hasn't won.
Yep.
Austin Dillon.
Right.
Harvick.
Yep.
Almirola
won yet this year?
Yeah. Almirola hasn't got that win yet. He usually gets a win.
Right.
Hamlin.
Yep.
Kyle Busch.
Stuart Haas is off the pace, I've noticed. Clint mentioned that during the race. They got some work to do.
So there's at least 7 drivers, and this weekend's a wild
I'm going to
card.
throw Alex Bowman out there. I think he's got a good chance to win this year.
So there's 8. There's your 14 drivers.
Yep.
Right, and we've got the dirt race, which I was out last night.
Well, no, wait. Oh yeah, because he's not running for the title. I was like, what happens if Stuart Friesen wins?
Yeah. But I was out last night talking with a guy, a friend who's into racing as well, and he asked me who my thing. I said, "Well, what about Stenhouse?" He laughed at me, but I'm like, Stenhouse is a dirt guy
and a restrictor plate guy.
Yep.
So he's exactly. There's 17, 18 winners in the regular season. I'm thinking at this point, it could very well be. Especially as teams are coming along, like Daniel Suarez. I'm not going to count him out on a road course.
Well, yeah, we got so many road courses.
Because let's be honest.
Got those we've still got the 3 wild cards of the dirt race, Daytona, and Talladega.
Right. But Suarez, definitely he's got to have a road racing background because they're not running ovals in the Mexican series.
No.
And outside of, previously running for Gibbs, other than Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex, I think that's more the drivers than the program getting those guys up front.
Yep.
Right? Because has Kyle Busch ever dominated a road course race?
I'm trying to think if he has a road course race win.
I think he does.
I think so.
Because they do that list of tracks, and there's only a handful of tracks he hasn't won on.
Yeah, true.
All right, so we'll do a quick preview. We're getting near the end here. So this week, trucks. Who pick me 3 drivers that are going to do well in the trucks?
There's so many others that are coming in. I think we've beat the dead horse, but I'm saying Friesen.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of other dirt guys that have done well at even Eldora.
Well, that's the problem because most of those guys have all moved on, right?
Yeah, because it's been Dylan. So it's
and I don't know how John Hunter runs on dirt per se.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But
because Briscoe's gone.
You know what? I'm going to throw Johnny Sauter out there, being a veteran, and Matt Kraft. Like I think the veteran,
and that's who I was starting to think of is just kind of guys like that.
And then if we look over into Cup, this could be Austin Dillon's best chance.
Yep.
He won he won one of the features.
I was going to say, and they made sure to say that he won in a lighter class, in a smaller class, but I don't think it really matters because those late models aren't running like your Cup cars anyway. So
no. But just with the amount of dirt experience, obviously Ricky Stenhouse, keep an eye open on him. Kyle Larson, definitely. Those are the big three that have, by far the most dirt experience.
Well, you can throw Chase Briscoe into that mix. He's got dirt experience.
Yep. Christopher Bell. So we might see a repeat winner for the first time.
We could.
Come to think of it. Between Larson and Bell right there. Because they are probably the two premier dirt trackers.
Yeah. Well, could we see a rerun of the Chili Bowl with those two guys?
Right. Is Ty Dillon running this weekend?
I don't think
Brothers,
so.
I wonder. I wouldn't count him out.
I don't know. Let me see if there is a.
Although it always seemed like Austin, of the two Dillon boys, Austin preferred the dirt over Ty.
Yeah.
Or embraced it more, whatever you want to call it. And I think part of that too is because Austin being older, while he was running those dirt late models for a few years, Ty wasn't really doing anything. And then Austin started doing the NASCAR ladder, and it seemed like Ty went more straight to the NASCAR side of things. He didn't spend as much time outside of NASCAR, we'll say.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Ty Dillon is running the 96 for Gaunt Brothers Racing.
All right. So we'll throw him out there as a wild card.
And there's still one driver, the 66 still is a TBA. But we do the other ones that coming in.
Were they waiting to see if Scott Bloomquist will pass the P test?
Could be. But we got the other ones coming in are, as we said before, Stuart Friesen and Chris Wyndham will be in the 15 for Rick Ware Racing.
One other thing I want to throw out, I don't know the guy's name, but Dad was absolutely loving it. As we know, the multiple classes at the Dirt Nationals, all the way down to Stinger cars, street stocks, everything. 1,400 cars showed up, and Dad happened to see the highlights of the street stock feature. And some of these street stocks, you look at them, they damn near look like NASCAR cars, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? With the body kits, and we've seen some of it down at the Charlotte Dirt Oval. Well, as Dad said, some guy hauled from far away, middle of nowhere, with this beat to hell street stock. And he won the fucking thing. He said, he said it looks straight from Brayton Speedway, just completely dented from bumper to bumper, like just an absolute. And he won it. So I was like, that's what it's all about right there.
Oh, exactly.
And who knows? That guy may have just picked up a ride in a dirt late model or an IMCA modified. Because that's why you show up at these events, folks. Take a chance, run the Snowball Derby. Win the Snowball Derby, you may be running a truck the next year.
Well, exactly, yeah.
It's happened.
Well, I think KBM, it says that all the time.
Just off the top of my head, former winners of the Snowball Derby now running in Cup. Kyle Busch, right? He was doing that stuff when he was underage because when he ran trucks and then got kicked out of NASCAR.
William Byron winning the Snowball Derby, getting a ride with KBM.
Yep. Chase Elliott, I believe, has won the Snowball Derby.
Yep.
In the early years.
And and then disqualified each time he's won it.
Well, there's that, but I think Joey Logano won the Snowball Derby because it was shortly after, because when Mark Martin saw him running Legends, that's when somebody went, you know what, let's put this kid in a ride, type thing.
Yeah.
Denny Hamlin won it. Because I'm just thinking guys that had asphalt late model careers. And, for those who don't know, Denny keeps an asphalt late model team around. I don't know if he still had, but up until a few years ago, he was always running like the Martinsville late model, Richmond, South Boston, in and around his hometown area.
Yeah. Whenever he's in that area, yeah.
So there we go. Anything else to add today?
Nothing else. This is until September, our last noon show. Everything else will go to the evening, later on in the evening on Tuesday nights.
Which could be at 8, possibly 9 due to scheduling, but usually 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, Tuesdays right here on the YouTubes. I tell you, I'm stoked. Dirt racing. Can't wait. And hopefully everybody will tune in. It'll be a great show. And I'm looking forward to it. I just hope it goes off well. That's all I hope for. Because if it goes off well, the track holds up. That's my biggest concern, is the track holding up. I hope it does. I think it will, because if it does, we're going to be back running dirt next year too. It won't be a one-off thing. So there we go. He's Doug. I'm Ben. This has been NasCanucks presented by Vibraprint. For all your custom printing needs, visit vibraprintonline.com and use coupon code Canucks and save 10% on your custom printing needs. Oh, and like and subscribe, algorithm.
Yeah. See you, Mars.